Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Long time no see. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be starting up a brand new video series that I wanted to do. Well, actually, it's not brand new. It's something that I used to do back in the day. And for those of you who don't remember, I used to do these discussion videos where I would just get in front of the camera, talk about miscellaneous topics. I used to talk about a lot of BB tag stuff, but I mostly want to do that now with other games and other things right now. This is not accentuated towards any like drama or any real talk stuff. I just want to openly get things off my chest about specific video games, specific fighting games, or just the meta of certain things as well. I want to be more educational towards specific things that are happening in the community when it comes to the actual game itself. And that's mostly what I want to stick to when I do these type of videos. And unlike back in the day, I used to do them with the camera on me and just talk. But now I'm going to be doing just me recording kind of commentary style over some gameplay, which is what you're currently seeing right now. Some Granblue Fantasy Versus, I recorded that today. So I'll mostly be doing that. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the topic at hand. So Granblue Fantasy Versus is no stranger to this channel. We've covered this game left, right, front, back, in every way, shape, or form as much as we can, primarily because I love this game. I love it how refreshing it is and how neutral heavy it is compared to, it's a refreshing game compared to what I normally play. And not just that, but I absolutely love the Granblue IP. The franchise itself is so great, full of colorful, bright, interesting characters that I want to see translated over to a fighting game format. So I've covered this game a lot and will continue to do so in the foreseeable future. However, that's not why I'm making this video. Recently, there's been people talking and people raising questions about the state of Granblue Fantasy Versus as it is right now. And I wanted to talk about that. But to take a look at the state of what it's in right now, I want to take a look at when the game first came out and kind of have a little bit of a retrospective. It won't be long, of course, but I'm just going to summarize, paraphrase as much as I can. So going back to February when this game first came out, the game had attracted so many different people from other communities, even people from the mobile game, obviously, just because of Granblue Fantasy itself. It attracted quite a bit of people. But of course, a lot of people started to judge the game for the netcode and the net play and how the game plays in an online format, which is totally viable because that is incredibly important in this day and age. But other than that, a lot of people were enjoying the game. A lot of people were loving playing offline and casuals and tournaments and majors, all that good stuff. We had at least one tournament before disaster struck, which was, I think, Super TSB, which was a super fun tournament to watch. But then afterwards, that's when disaster struck. That's when the pandemic hit us all worldwide, which means no tournament scene whatsoever for any game, and that's including Granblue. So no casuals, no locals, no majors, no tournaments, no anything like that. And that not only hurts Granblue Fantasy Versus, but also hurts other fighting games as well, just because fighting games, as you all know, require a lot of accuracy, a lot of precision, and a lot of real-time reactions. And if you have anything that slows that down even by a millisecond, that can ruin your entire experience with the fighting game. And that's essentially what happened. After the pandemic happened, everybody switched to an online format. Everybody was looking to the netcode and the net play for Granblue Fantasy Versus, and that's when we started to basically see the big problem of the game surface in a huge way. We had no other way to be able to play the game other than in online. So with that being the case, a lot of people just didn't want to play it anymore. A lot of other games have better netcode, have better player base, I should say, because everybody's online and nobody really wants to play a delay-based netcode game in 2020, just because it's an outdated, inferior netcode to what we currently have that it's available right now, such as rollback. But that's a whole discussion itself for another video. Essentially, the netcode for Granblue Fantasy Versus was really bad, and it didn't help that there was no ping display either. Now, the ping display is very important because most fighting games, you can tell the connection between one another by looking at their ping display. But in this game, there is no ping display, so that adds on to the fire that we currently have right now with the netcode. After everybody, myself included, were finding out of how bad the netcode was, we find out that EVO gets canceled, which was more expected than anything else. But because of that, EVO announced that all the games that we had that were going to be at EVO were canceled completely. At that point, that's when things became a little more grim for Granblue Fantasy Versus, because EVO, as much as I hate to admit it, EVO is one of those tournaments that really motivates a lot of people to practice and to pick up the game so they can compete at EVO. And of course, this is before the whole thing with EVO started, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Then after EVO got canceled, a lot of people were speculating, oh, there's going to be an online tournament, so a little bit of hope was there for Granblue Fantasy Versus, and then they announced EVO Online with no Granblue Fantasy Versus, and that kind of added on to the fire even more as to people won't be playing the game, they'll be playing these other games instead. It's just an effect that EVO has. I don't like how EVO can just judge a game's popularity just like that, but it's how it is. So with the combination of EVO and bad net play, that just put a sour taste to a lot of people's mouths, and they didn't want to play Granblue Fantasy Versus, so we saw a pretty big reduction in player base. Things weren't looking good for Granblue Fantasy Versus, even though they were doing extremely well with releasing characters monthly. They had Jita, Soras, Zoe, Beelzebub, Narmaya, all these characters were coming out monthly, and in terms of support with the characters, it was going fantastic. Now, as a player and as an enthusiast, I am pretty much on board with this whole net play thing, and it leaves a sour taste. It's something that they need to address hopefully very soon. I know that things are a little bit slower on the developing side just because of the whole pandemic situation going on, but there's something I'm more confused than anything else about when it comes to the player base. A lot of people really do complain about the ping restriction, and I do too. I hate not being able to see other people's ping. However, there is a game mode in the online portion that you can limit and you can restrict connections to 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar. There's only one. That's ranked matches, and I'm just surprised that not a lot of people play ranked matches in Granblue Fantasy Versus. Now, I do understand that not a lot of people play once they hit a certain rank because they want to keep that rank, and this is something that's on the developers because they did not add a casual match that you can queue up and you can restrict it similarly to how you can do it with ranked matches. That's something that they need to invest in because a lot of people just don't want to play for stakes. They want to play for fun. They want to try out a new character. They want to do that stuff. And that's primarily why they go to the lobbies and they go to rooms. But over there in the rooms and lobbies, there's no ping display. So you have this frustrating element to this game where you just want to play for fun, but you can't see the connection and you're basically rolling the gacha for a good connection, etc., etc. And here we are now in July of 2020. We are now currently with no EVO. We're currently waiting for more patches. We're currently waiting for more characters to show up and an update so they could show ping display and other things like that. Currently, the state of the game right now is definitely a little bit more empty than normal because of all the things that I told you about. Now, that does not mean that the game is dead. That's primarily something that I wanted to clear up, and I wanted to voice my opinions on it. Now, of course, if you come from a background of Mortal Kombat, Smash Brothers, oh, rest in peace, Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, just where the online base or the player base is just huge. Street Fighter, Dragon Ball. Of course, you're going to be considering this game a little bit more dead than normal just because you don't see the overabundance of players playing in lobbies. And I kind of explain as to why people aren't playing in lobbies and such. But there is quite a bit of things compared to other games that are happening right now. Granblue Fantasy is actually one of those games that a lot of people are doing things for him constantly. There's a lot of online events happening like Ronin Rumble, like a Sonic Souls tournament series, and there's going to be some things happening now that EVO is gone. And not just those, but there's actually complete support from the developer side as well when it comes to tournaments. They recently held a offline event. Over 1,000 players entered for this tournament. It's called Rage, and Cygames is known for doing tournaments where they include large prize pools for the players that play the games. In Japan, of course, they have their stuff together. They're not like America where everything is a complete mess and utterly chaotic when it comes to the pandemic. Japan has kind of gotten some things a little bit more under control, more so than America. So they were able to hold an offline event, and to be honest, we were all thirsting for an offline event, for something to happen with the game so they can show off where the meta is at in specific regions. And we were able to see the meta currently as it is right now and what's good. A lot of people were grinding over there. Japan is flourishing with lots of Granblue Fantasy versus content, because not only are the developers doing things like the Rage tournament, but on the community side, they're hosting exhibition matches weekly. Constantly in Japan, and recently done over here in America, but mostly in Japan, they're doing community 10v10s for Granblue Fantasy Versus. Essentially what they're doing is just gathering up 10 players and doing a crew battle from different communities that also happen to play Granblue Fantasy Versus. So for example, Guilty Gear players that also happen to play Granblue, they join up, they team up, and they take down another community. Let's say, for example, King of Fighters. They do this all the time, and I think it's one of the most genius things you could do for a fighting game, especially one right now that's thirsting for content such as Granblue. I'll link all of the stuff in the description down below, where you can find the Rage tournament, at least the VOD for it, the 10v10s as well, and also some online tournaments that you can enter if you so want to. The point being is that the game currently right now, as it is in pretty bad shape, and I hope that some things get changed before it's too late. However, to say that the game is dead is to completely ignore what's going on right now. So looking at everything that I just mentioned, looking at the upbringing, and of course looking at the state of the game as it is right now and what's happening with current events, and also with the things that the community is doing for the game, it's hard to say that the game is dead, or just because of a specific number that shows up whenever you enter a lobby. Just because that lobby is not filled up to the brim does not mean that the game is dead. And that's all I wanted to say about the game today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, speaking of which, you can also tell me about your opinions on the state of the game in the comment section down below. Like the video if you guys did enjoy this type of video, and like I said in the comment section, let me know if you guys want to see more. Subscribe to the channel for more of these commentaries and for more Granblue and more fighting game stuff in general. I'm signing out. You guys have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.